Welcome back, everyone. I know it has been a very long minute since I did a very long awaited video. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So, today I want to talk about spiritual wealth and what that looks like. Now, first and foremost, if you haven't already, make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure you like and you comment, interact. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But first things first, let's talk about the gift of gab and what does that mean. Now, when we speak on someone having the gift of gab, that's basically someone having the ability to just charisma. That's all that is. It's charisma, charm, how you speak to people. You speak with confidence. You speak like you know what you're talking about. You don't hesitate. You move accordingly, if you know what I mean. Like, that is exactly what the gift of gab is and how it manifests. Now, like, if you've been here for a while, you should already know I have a story time for everything in my life. So I'm just going to give you a little scenario here. So, when we speak of the gift of gab, we're talking about how you speak to people and how the words in your that come out of your mouth has the power to impact people negatively or positively, including yourself. So, for example, for me, this was many, many, many moons ago, but there was a time in my life where I had a car, okay, and RIP to her, okay. um she passed away. My car passed away. And the way in which that happened was because I, being just the irresponsible adult that I was at the time, I needed work done, right? So I said, you know what, man, what if I just get a little fender bender, I could just, um So one day I'm going to work and I was late. I was supposed to be there at 7:30 and my butt was hauling ass out of the house at 6:45. And it was about 40 minutes away. So, being the busy bee that I was, I decided to try to rush my ass to work. It didn't end very well. So, I ended up getting into, and granted, when I said what I said about my car, I would say probably about a month or so later, she was a total loss. So, with that being said, I reevaluated. Granted, I have another car. Trust. We're always going to be mobile. But I need you to understand the words that come out of your mouth has a lot to do with how you move, how you react, and how you make decisions. So if you already are thinking, okay, I can't do this. Oh my God, this is so hard. Like, why do I even have to do this? I can't. The word I can't is not in my vocabulary. I don't call myself the B word. And I don't associate myself with people that call themselves the B word. I don't play that, because if you think that of yourself, what makes you think that that's not going to rub off on me? Or, I'm out here catching strays for you. Like, I'm not doing that. No, no, we're not catching strays for anyone. So watch your mouth. Okay. When you have spiritual wealth, the things that you speak into existence actually come into fruition. Now, I'm not talking about the fluffy, fluff stuff. Of course, there's actual movement behind the words that you speak, okay? We're not just saying, abracadabra, I have I don't know, a Benz or something. I don't know. That's not how that works. You actually have to have the money to go get a Benz. You have to have the dealership, go to the dealership to get that Benz. And you also have to have the credits to get that Benz, okay? So there's actual movement behind the words that we're going to talk about as far as spiritual wealth is concerned is the gift of discernment. Now, you may have heard this before. Essentially, the gift of discernment, it has to do with you not just trusting your own normal senses, your sight, touch, all that. You're trusting your inner knowing. You're trusting yourself. You trust that your instincts basically. You're trusting that the things that you feel and sense are accurate versus externally. If you go out into the world today, a lot of people do not trust themselves. I was one of those people. When we get older and we leave the nest, the first thing that we do is ask our mothers, "Hey, mom, can you schedule my doctor's appointment for me?" That was me, but it's okay though. It's like that sometimes. You know, when you first leave the nest, it's like, okay. And granted, I've been out the nest for quite some time, but when you get your bearings to yourself and you start trusting yourself and your decision making, that's when you're able to actually move and function at a higher level when it comes to this adulting. When you actually start trusting yourself and trusting the decisions that you make, that's when you know you're that girl. Okay. You're that girl. You're her, okay? Now, I don't know if you've ever been around people that will hear something and then they question what they heard multiple times and maybe even get into an argument with you because of what you're breaking down to them verbatim. Verbatim. There are people that will argue with you that heard the same thing that you heard at the same time. Now, granted, everyone has a perspective of things, right? I can be in the same room with you, see the exact same event that you saw, and interpret it completely different. That's very possible. But I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about are the people that lack confidence in their own judgment making skills. And a lot of those people, their lives are in shambles. They're getting into arguments with people because they're always trying to prove a point. They're going crazy, going back and forth with themselves because there's no way this person did this. I can't, but like they're really fighting facts. We live in a world with people that fight facts, unfortunately. So I'm saying to you today that if you want to understand the gift of discernment, and if you came from the church and you want to get it from a biblical perspective, you want to look at Corinthians 12, verses 4 through 10, and it speaks of the spiritual gifts. And I can go over that later if you like. Just let me know in the comment section. I can break it down all the way down, okay? But for the sake of this video, when you are in alignment with yourself and your spirit, there's no need to fact check. I heard what I heard and I say what I said. That's it. Period. And a lot of people won't like that. And that's okay. Everyone is not for you and you are not for everyone. That's how it is. Okay? All right. You know, gift that you would have bestowed upon you when you have access to spiritual wealth, your spiritual wealth, is protection. I'm not saying that we're out here existing without any form of protection at all. But what I am saying, however, is that you have more understanding and you have more wisdom, and you also have access to spiritual protections. Now, a lot of these protections were given to you at birth. Okay. It's not something that just randomly happens out of nowhere. These are already things that you would be tapping into once you've gotten to that level where you are more in alignment with yourself, in alignment with your spiritual team, all of that. So those protections those spirits that were given to you ancestrally, you have access to them and everything that comes with them: wisdom, protection. Have you ever gotten into a situation you just don't know how the hell you got up out of there unscathed?
I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive.
There you go. Like I said, I have several stories. I'll just throw one out there. Why not? So there's this time when I would say about 6 years old. Child, when I tell you I was like a Dora the Explorer type when I was a kid, I was into everything. Cabinets, keychains, nothing was safe around me. Okay, nothing. So there was one day that I went out with my dad. We went to go visit, I think his sister at the time. When I was younger, we went to go visit her. Now, bring it. I want you to come here, okay? If you are from Chicago, and I'm talking about not outskirts. I'm talking about Chicagoland. Okay, you either from the west side, the north side, the south side. I'm talking about real Chicagoans. I'm not talking about Hyde Park. Okay, because everybody think they Chicago and they not Chicago. I don't understand that. Anyway, so during this time, my aunt, she lived in the Greens. Now, if you know what the Greens are, I don't need to even go into all of that detail. Look it up. So if you've ever been to the Greens, that elevator shaft, horrible. Death trap. Not even lying to you. Literal death trap. So my dad was talking to my grandfather, which was his father. At the time, he had the door wide open to the apartment and I just walked out. Y'all boring. I'm gone. That was the type of kid I was. Anyway, I wandered out and gratefully no one kidnapped me, okay? And then also I said, what's that over there? Like, why it looks so dark down there? I went to go and I was like, wait a minute, it's nothing over here. So I knelt down and I put my foot over. And I was like, why is it nothing right there? I'm like, you know what? Let me go down and see what's going on. As soon as I did that, and I kid you not, my daddy rushed out that apartment and said, that's exactly how he. My daddy only whipped me one time, okay? That wasn't the time that he whipped me. He should have whipped me then. But yeah, I almost died. I could have. Great, because like I said, that was an elevator shaft that was missing. So, spiritual protections. Next example of spiritual wealth would be manifesting with ease. So, when we talk about manifestations, okay, that is a very popular topic, especially in a time like this that we're living in, the world that we're living in. Everybody just wants to live comfortably, not struggle, not have to worry about where their next meal is going to come from, how they're going to pay for their kids this, how they're going to do this. Like everyone is at a point in their life where they are damn near in survival mode. And of course, it's because of, everything that's going on in the world. So it's a lot of factors that contribute to why the world is, the way that it is. So we can't just sit here and say, well, if you had your spiritual gifts or whatever, you would be struggling like that. That's your fault. And I think that's the thing. When we are in these spiritual spaces, people tend to forget, like they get all egomaniac type and they forget that spirituality and reality are one and the same. Like it mirrors each other to a degree. So, granted, we all know that there are things outside of our control that we cannot do anything about because it has nothing to do with us per se. But that small bit that does have something to do with us, that is what we are molding. So when we talk about spiritual wealth and being able to manifest anything, it doesn't matter what it is, long-term goals or short-term goals. Granted, you have to understand now, like I said, there is such thing as putting things into the atmosphere and say, hey, I want this, and then practicality. You have to be practical. There's no way. Granted, there's things that just come out of the blue, like, hey, I'm here for you, girl. Thank you very much. Thank you. But there are other things that require a little bit more work, a little bit more elbow grease, a little bit, a little bit extra scrubbing. So when that happens, when those things need more extra oomph, you just say, hey, what's up? I'm here. I got this stuff set up over my end. Like what y'all could do for me? Like real talk. Like what's good? And that's when the manifestation happens. Like when you are able to put yourself in position, and when I say put yourself in position, I mean actually have things in alignment. So for example, when we're talking about manifesting with ease, we're talking about, okay, as soon as I post this video and I'm trying to be a content creator, for example, as soon as I post this video, boom, it's going to go viral. Everyone's going to be like, girl, yes, I love this video. And it's going to reach who it needs to reach in order for me to get put on. And that's how manifesting with ease works. You have to have something in place already in order for spirit to make that move for you. Now, sometimes it's the other way around. You don't have to have anything at all. But if for some things, there has to be something physical in the physical that spirit can move spiritually in the spiritual realm. Like I said, the spiritual is a reflection of the physical. So it's very important to understand that when it comes to manifestation and doing things that you want in this life. And granted, not everything is going to be for you. Not everything is meant for you, even if you want it so bad. Sometimes there is a such thing as divine protection, because you may think that is one way because all you can see is what you can see in front of you. There is so much that has to be moved on the other side of all of that stuff you're asking for. How is this going to happen? For example, I want to get a car. Okay, where's the money? Can't get a car without money. Which dealership you going to? What that credit looking like? How many payments you missed? Like you have to have these things lined up. So when it's time to go do it, you're set. You're all set. So that's how you understand that manifesting with ease it's one of those things that just happens once you are in alignment with what you are supposed to be doing with yourself, when you understand universal laws, when you understand. If you are someone that has read the Kabbalion, I highly recommend it. And I also have another book recommendation at the end of the video. So make sure you stick around so I can tell you about it. But yeah, when you understand universal laws and how things work, you just can't. People think that like, oh, the universe is my sugar daddy or my sugar mama. The universe is my ATM. Okay, great. What are you giving in exchange? Nothing? Seems a little one-sided, don't you think? What are you doing? Like there's a give and take. You have to understand that. Give and a take. Reciprocity. You have to understand those laws. So once you understand those laws, that's when you get into the sweet spot. Another aspect to your spiritual wealth is dream remembering. Now, dream remembering is, I don't want to say it's tricky, but it's one of those things that it's like, okay, well, I highly recommend having a journal and a pen right next to your bed. When you wake up, if you have a crazy dream, boom, pen, paper right there. So you can remember everything and don't move. I don't know what it is about moving, sneezing. It just messes everything up and you don't remember a god darn thing. Don't go to the bathroom either. Do not go to the bathroom, because as soon as you go to the bathroom, all of the old memories go going down the toilet. I don't know what it is. But yes, I highly recommend having a journal next to your bedside just to write down everything as they happen. As soon as you wake up, write it down. But there's also something that needs to be said about when you do any type of dream recollection. So that also goes hand in hand with your subconscious mind and you training your subconscious mind to be able to not just remember, but to, how can I say this? Just to bring everything home. I know I can't think of the word right now, but it's let me just explain. Okay. So when you are more, I guess you could say, of a sound mind and you are more receptive, if you will, to your subconscious mind, and when it's time to go from conscious to subconscious. Things become easier, communication becomes easier. You're able to communicate with your spirits. For example, meditation. When you have the ability, and I know people say, oh, calm your mind. Like, it's your body is your body. You got your head is gonna itch, your throat is gonna, you gotta clear your throat. Like, it's just life. Okay. You when you are meditating, it's just you just feeling your feelings, letting whatever you feel pass right on by. And then you start to, okay, like I had to train myself to become a better meditator, if you will. So I started watching guided meditations to get more comfortable with sitting in silence. Um, I started with that for about 10 minutes at first, and then I went to 15 minutes, and then after 15 minutes, I went to 30 minutes and then to an hour. I do apologize, my audio went out, but I'm basically just talking about how once you become more disciplined with your meditation practices, you will become more receptive to the messages that you are getting from your ancestral spiritual team, and it'll be more apparent, and it'll be much easier to understand their language and how they communicate, because how we communicate amongst ourselves is slightly different than how spirits communicate with you. Let's talk about the next example of your spiritual wealth manifesting within your life. So the next thing we're going to talk about is access to your spiritual gifts. Now, your spiritual gifts are, of course, your senses, your spiritual senses, um, are elevating your natural human senses. So your sense of sight, smell, but from a spiritual sense. So that's one thing, but also your ability to be able to communicate with things that go unseen, spiritually, that others may not see. That is another example of your spiritual gifts manifesting themselves once you are able to tap into your spiritual wealth, your birthrights, essentially. Now, when you are able to do this, this is going to usher in another chapter of your life. So I hope you're ready. This is something that took me some time to even realize for myself. I know that I had them, but I just didn't understand them. I guess that I've always had them from since I was a kid. Like I talk about this a lot, but there was a time when I used to hear things and didn't really understand it, like hear spirits and people calling me. And Grant said, don't you ever answer. If someone's calling you and there's no one there, don't do that. Not at all. Don't do that. But there was a time when I would like literally listen to a specific song at a specific point within the song, and I would hear somebody scream my nickname. And I remember when I first heard it, I was like, what the? I got up and asked someone, like, "Mom, did you call me?" This was on Christmas Day, mind you, back in, I think it was like 1999. I know I seem old, but I'm not. Anyway, I got up, I was like, "Mom, you called me?" She's like, "No." I was like, wait a minute. Scared the hell out of me. And then there was another time where this going off into like paranormal activities, but I'm just being honest. There was one time I would hear like heavy breathing. I know this sounds so cliche, but I cannot make this up. And if you ask my mom today, she will tell you she heard it too, because she has it, but she won't call it that. No, don't you ever say that she's clear on it. That's the devil, that's demonic. Anyway, um, heavy breathing noises, and we were like, what's going on? Comes to find out, the people that rented the apartment to us told us about a guy that lived upstairs that passed away in the house that we lived in. And it threw us for a loop. I'm like, so you sold us this and didn't tell it? Oh, you doing some dirty work. Okay, cool. Bye. Got to get up out that jam quick. And one other thing that can be said in regards to your having access to your spiritual gifts is the access to your spiritual court. Now, your spiritual court, spiritual team, and spirit guides, whatever you want to call them, they were there from day one. Day one, before you even came through your mother's portal, before anything happened, they knew you and they blessed you with whatever gifts, rights, whatever, when you were born, whatever anointing that was given to you at the time of before you got here. So you will have access to them once you essentially think of it like, and I hate to say this, but if you are kind of a weeb, you will get it. It's kind of like a video game. Once you level up and, experience, then you get this token and this, like it's kind of like that. Life is kind of like a video game to a degree, but a very hardcore one. But once you get to a certain level spiritually, that's when you will have access to them, their wisdom, their essence, their, power. Essentially, they would be able to help you in certain aspects of your life, but you have to go through different things first. And I'm not talking about like going through like hardship to be deemed fit type of mess that we're taught in religion. Like that's not what I'm talking about. You have to get to a point of understanding of X, Y, and Z before you can get there. Now, you may go through things while trying to get to X, Y, and Z, but that is not a prerequisite for you to have access to them. You already have access, right? But what gives you I guess you can say, the authorization to communicate and commune is you understanding who you are, understanding like your spiritual wisdom. Once you have access to spirits, there's no going back. Like there's wisdom that is bestowed on you instantly. Like everything that seemed like it didn't make sense makes sense. So that's what I want to say in regards to accessing your spiritual gifts once you tap into your spiritual wealth. And the last seventh example of spiritual wealth would be abundance, opportunities at every turn. So we already talked about how we live in a world filled with lack, or the perception or the illusion of lack, because of the different things that are, again, going on in this world. I'm going to be posting this video very soon, and it's already a major event that just happened when it comes to Pluto and Aquarius and what's going on. It's unfortunate, but this is where the world is going, because like I said, one thing begets another thing begets another thing. So there's going to be, when it comes to opportunities and, the things that are happening in the world and your life and all this other stuff, eventually you're going to get to a point where, okay, you just surrender to just the flow of life and what everything that comes with it. You will have to surrender. We're taught either to be in control or to be the handler, if you will, the person that controls everything. And both parties at some point will have to surrender to what is coming, what is going on. So in order to go from lack to abundance, from scarcity and all of that, to having everything that you've ever needed or wanted, it all lies in your surrender to flow. One, it also lies in you becoming disciplined. because a lot of the things that we need to understand in order to, like I mentioned, you saying that the universe is an ATM for you, but what are you giving in return? There's a give and take. There are literally universal laws that exist. People call them whatever they want to call them, but it's still there regardless of anything. Whatever you believe in, they're still there regardless. So you have to understand that there has to be a give and there has to be a take, a flow, reciprocity, right? It has to be that. With that, there's nothing, basically. And I want you to understand that when you get to the point where you're doing your work, you're in balance with yourself, with spirit, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're disciplined, you're committing yourself to your own personal mastery, your self mastery and improvement, both mentally, physically, and spiritually. That's when things start to become, clear. You understand why everything the way that it was, and you're happy that you're no longer in that place, but you understand that the only way that you could get to from point A to point B was if you were to do this, right? So there needs to be something that needs to be understood is that the opportunities that you are seeking is on the other side of your own personal improvement and personal development. Not a day, not a second or a minute before. And what you are doing, all of the things that you are supposed to be doing, everything just seems like just a piece of cake. Everything just comes on its own time. Make sure you have everything lined up the way that it needs to be lined up. Put your best foot forward. Make sure you're doing your part. Make sure that you're not selling yourself short, selling your soul to whatever entity or person, place, or thing. Make sure that no one has ownership of your constitution, meaning your mind, your body, your spirit. And if somebody got your body, make sure you don't get your mind or your spirit, right? Make sure you are in alignment. And eventually your body will be free. Meaning, if you work somewhere and you don't want to be there and you want to do something that's going to actually make you feel alive, if you get what I'm saying, like if you are thinking about being an entrepreneur or something along those lines, or even just finding something that is going to be lucrative while you work there, like something, right? It's going to find its way to you. But you have to get creative. You have to utilize your resource. You have to do a lot of things. But just understand that whatever you desire most physically, you got to do that work spiritually. Okay? Okay. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. I truly appreciate you. Make sure you like, comment what you thought, let's talk, like what you think. Do you think you have your key to your spiritual wealth? Do you think you got access? If you do, why do you think that? Like, where are you? Let me know. Talk to me. And also make sure that you share this with someone that needs to hear it. Okay. And like I promised, I was going to share another recommendation that is going to help you go from point A to point B when it comes to your access to your spiritual wealth. And it's her. This is she. This is her. This is my book, Taboos and Loose Screws, a guide to paving your spiritual walk while traversing these spiritual streets. It is available at moonstoneenergy.com. I talk about spiritual wealth along with many other topics that are impacting us today in real time that's basically hindering us from not only just freeing ourselves mentally and making decisions for ourselves and empowering ourselves, but it's also blocking us from our growth, both spiritually and mentally. So you want to get this book right here, moonstoneenergy.com, and it is definitely on sale right now. So if you're watching this right now in the month of December of 2024, this book is on sale up to 50% off on my website. And I also want to mention something else as well. So I'm talking about having access to spiritual wealth and understanding what it is. A lot of people think that spiritual wealth has something to do with tangible things, even though your wealth spiritually can manifest physically. But that's not what it is. A lot of people have money but have no spiritual wealth. I'm going to say that again. A lot of people that are wealthy, like physically wealthy, have no spiritual wealth at all. And you can see it. We're going to pause on that. And I want you to think about that. But I wanted to not just this book right here was the inspiration for this video, because I felt like there's a lot of things that need to be said in regards to spiritual wealth, not just, a book, right? I wanted to create an entire experience. And I wanted that experience to be as hands-on as possible. I know that everyone lives everywhere, right? We're not all in the same place at the same time. So I wanted to have something that's going to be centralized and easier. So what I have created, drumroll please, was the Mystic Soul Initiation. Now, what the Mystic Soul Initiation is not like an initiation into a society of sorts, air quotes there. It's not like I'm initiating you into some type of, tradition like Ifa or nothing like that. No, that's not what it is. It's more so of an initiation into yourself, into your divinity. And I'm going to help you do that. And I've created the entire program. It's ready to go in January of 2025 if you would like to participate in it. At this time, I am only accepting 10 people. I know that's 5, but 10. I'm only accepting 10 people that are serious about their growth and their personal development. So it's going to be broken down into 5 phases, okay? 5 phases. And those phases, I'm going to basically break it down to you one by one. The things that you need to that need to be highlighted that you may have missed. I'm talking about just in real life reality. I don't want when I designed this program, what I did not want was regular, and call it shade if you want. I did not want new age fluff. I did not want that. Okay. I didn't want anything that seemed so, just I am ripping. Okay. One thing you need to understand about me is I like to be as idealistic within means, meaning I'm realistic. Okay. If you go outside right now, it's not going to look like what they want to portray. I want it to be as real and raw as possible, because how a lot of us were raised or even groomed, I would say that, is to think everything is, hours, or everything is supposed to work out a certain type of way because that's how I said I wanted it to be. When in real life, that's not how it is, right? Why would I design a program that isn't real? I want you to understand that no, you don't have to go through hard-ish to actually get from point A to point B, but I want you to be as realistic as possible, because it's the trenches outside. I don't know if you recognized it, but it's trenches out there. It's real. And I would be doing a disservice to you, right, if I wasn't giving you what you needed. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm not here to stroke your ego. I am here, think of it as spiritual boot camp. I'm here to break you down in the most loving way possible, so that you can get from point A to point B and sit in the person that you're meant to be. I want you to think of this as a means of personal development, self-mastery, spiritual development, because that's all of the things that you like. That is exactly what it is. That the program, the Mystic Soul Initiation, is this, but on roids, if that makes sense to you. I wanted this to be something that can be broken down, and I want it to be as real and as hands-on as I possibly can be. I want it to be something that you will never forget in the most positive way possible. Because we already live in a world filled with who? Loose screws. I don't want you to be one of those, babes. We don't need any more. It's full. The container's full. We already have enough of them. We don't need any more. So I'm trying to get you up out of this and embrace this, which are the taboos that no one wants to deal with. Everyone wants everything to be sugar, lollipops, and gumdrops, and that's not real. So thank you so much for watching this video. All of the information and all of the, books and all the good stuff will be linked in the description box below. Make sure that you are with me in the year 2025, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace.